if people knew how much less it costs to get someone to vote early than it does to continue that voter contact all the way to the end, they'd just be stunned. But the thing that we found particularly on chasing mail-in ballots, certain states, every voter gets that. And certain states, you actually have to go and request it. And then you're chasing this very narrow universe of people who've made the request for the mail-in ballot. What we found is this is the classic example of the leaky bucket, that you may have a very compressed time period in which you have to reach a certain number of people. And so no one thing you're going to do is going to reach all of them, nor is it going to reach them as fast as you need to. So if your candidate hasn't been out and knocked that door, they're not going to get through their entire district again in 5 days after it took a month to do the last time. So this is where, we find ourselves getting pulled in that kind of situation frequently. It's, who did I not talk to at the door? Who has opted out of my texts? And so, making sure that every opportunity that voters can leak out is plugged in one way or another. And again, we're looking at people who are not addressable digitally. Often those are people who have landline phones. People who've opted out of your text messages need to get a live call or a ringless voicemail. Or, if they live in a gated community, then they're just not knockable. And so being able to parse and segment that way has been enormously helpful. On the texting side, one of the things we found is I have seen a sharp increase in the use of what I would call micro influencers. So someone's running, someone might be running for attorney general, and they have a particular endorsement that's really great in one county, but in all the rest of the counties means nothing. And so to see statewide candidates texting certain voters in a county because a sheriff endorsed them, or I had a state rep where a high school football coach endorsed them. That going to that level to use that kind of endorsement is just, that's how we. I think Bob is absolutely right about that high watermark comment. How do we get as close to the high watermark as we can when there's some headwinds against us? President Trump being extremely active, but not actually on the ballot, and and some of the other challenges that a midterm historically presents to us.